But if the process of working through the prenuptial agreement is raising all kinds of red flag issues, you should probably look at your partner and say why before you look at them and say, I do. I've written more prenup and postnup agreements than any other attorney I've ever known of, and I'm a huge proponent of them. Why? Because they get the issues out on the table up front while you're in a loving mood, rather than later on when you're potentially at each other's throats because the marriage didn't work out and you're bitter and you're hurt and you're scared to death about what's going to happen to you financially. So there are 7 prenuptial agreement reaction red flags that you cannot ignore, and here they are. Red flag number 1, defensiveness. A prenuptial agreement is a very practical arrangement, and it's aimed at protecting both parties' interests in the event that the marriage ends in divorce. However, if your partner responds with defensiveness at the mere suggestion of a prenup, that's a red flag. This defensiveness might indicate an unwillingness to openly discuss financial matters in general, potentially leading to complications during your marriage. Let me give you an example. Why do you need a prenup? Don't you trust me? That's a defensive response that might signal an underlying reluctance to share the financial details of their life or a fear of perceived mistrust. Red flag number 2, procrastination. If your partner consistently avoids or procrastinates in having a discussion about a prenup, it might indicate an unwillingness to address potential financial discrepancies. And delaying the conversation could lead to further misunderstandings and lingering concerns that could have been resolved by just having an open communication, just a good discussion with them. Let me give you an example. One partner brings up the idea of a prenup several times during their engagement, but the other partner deflects each time, doesn't want to have the conversation, claims that they have more pressing matters to discuss. This avoidance could be a red flag, and it could indicate a reluctance or refusal to address important financial matters or a lack of willingness to confront potential issues. Hey, every relationship and every marriage has uncomfortable and awkward issues that need to be discussed from time to time, so pay attention now if you're seeing them. I'm not saying you should run, but be aware of what you're facing. Red flag number 3, unilateral decision making. Ideally, a prenup should be a mutual decision made with the best interest of both parties in mind, but if one partner unilaterally decides the terms without any input from the other, that could lead to feelings of resentment and an imbalance of power within the relationship. Let me give you an example. One partner hands the other partner a prenuptial agreement that they had drafted by an attorney without any prior discussion. Then they state, okay, this is how it's going to be, here you go. This unilateral approach is a big red flag that shows a lack of regard for the other party's feelings and concerns, and it could potentially lead to strained dynamics in many parts of the relationship. Will they be that way when it comes to decorating the home? How about choosing a vacation spot or even a type of vacation? Red flag number 4, a lack of transparency. In Georgia, and probably most other states, an essential element of a valid and enforceable prenuptial agreement is complete transparency regarding your financial condition. This includes your income, your assets, and your debts. And if your partner is unwilling to share this information, it may indicate a lack of trust or a desire to keep certain aspects of their financial life hidden, in which case the prenuptial agreement is going to have issues with enforceability. Red flag number 5, emotional manipulation. If discussions about a prenuptial agreement lead to emotional manipulation, that's a critical red flag. Emotional manipulation could include guilt tripping, gaslighting, or using emotional tactics to sway the decision-making process, which is poison in any relationship. Here's an example. As soon as one of the partners brings up the prenuptial agreement, the other partner gets very upset and accuses them of prioritizing money over their love. Now, this is pure emotional manipulation. It's an absolute red flag. It shows an attempt to control the narrative and sway their partner through guilt. I guarantee if it's happening with the prenuptial agreement discussion, it's happening in other areas of the relationship. But what's interesting is sometimes it may not be so obvious in the relationship until it comes up in a prenuptial discussion. Red flag number 6, failure to address debts and liabilities in the prenuptial agreement. So in this instance, the prenuptial agreement overlooks or inadequately addresses the handling of debts and liabilities incurred during the marriage. This is important because financial responsibilities extend beyond just assets, and debts accumulated during the marriage should also be addressed in the prenuptial agreement. So ignoring this aspect of the prenuptial agreement may result in disagreements and financial burdens post-divorce. Let me give you an example. The prenuptial agreement focuses solely on dividing up money and assets, but doesn't outline how debts and bills incurred during the marriage will be handled, or it doesn't address how joint debts will be allocated in the event of a divorce. Red flag number 7, pressure or rushing. If your partner pressures you to rush through the prenuptial process without giving you adequate time for review either on your own or with a lawyer, it could be a sign of underlying issues or an attempt to hide something and fast-track the prenup without proper evaluation. Here's an example. One partner suggests the prenuptial agreement, but before the other party can thoroughly review the terms or seek legal advice, the partner insists on them signing it, saying, "Let's just get it done." The pressure to rush the process is a huge red flag. What are they hiding? So let me summarize for you here. Your marriage will definitely end one day, either in death or in divorce. For death, you need to have a will. And for a divorce, you should have a prenuptial agreement that avoids the fighting and the expense of an ugly divorce. But if the process of working through the prenuptial agreement is raising all kinds of red flag issues, you should probably look at your partner and say why before you look at them and say, I do. Hey, thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. Be sure to click subscribe, like, follow, whatever is appropriate for the platform you're watching it on, and turn on the alerts so you'll get notified when we post our newest videos. Please share these videos with people you care about who need to see this information, and repost them, and let's get this information out to people who need to know. Also, leave us some comments. Let me know if you have questions or suggestions for other video topics, and let me know your thoughts. I really want to hear what you have to say. Just keep it polite. Remember to join our Facebook group at Georgia Divorce and Custody and join in the discussion. And as always, I look forward to seeing you on the next video.